Good morning.
Good morning. What would you like to talk about today?
I had an experience that I think might be of value for people to hear and maybe learn something.
Okay.
So, short while back, there were almost 4 days where none of the videos worked on our website.
I remember that.
And they just went dead. And so it was a pretty intense 3 days for me. It happened to be over the weekend, of course. So I didn't have access to the web developer or Vimeo or the server guy as much as I would have ordinarily if it had happened during the week. So here I am in this situation, and there's the level 3 people are on Facebook, level 1 people are on Facebook saying, where are the videos? I can't access them. They're emailing Mary saying, problem. And I'm scrambling to try to figure out how to fix this thing, and I don't have access to my resources. And so it was 3 days of intensity. Lots of people had their attention on mastering alchemy in a not negative, but in a worried way.
Right.
And so on that Monday, I was in contact with Vimeo, and between them and me, we figured it out and we fixed it.
Great.
And we put some things in place that would prevent it in the future. So, crisis over. But I know enough about energy that when there's an intense period, there's a lot of energy there. And so I knew I needed to clean it out of my space so I didn't drag it into the day.
Yep. Make separations.
Sure. That's what I did. So how did I make this? Ask me how I made the separations.
Oh, Roxanne, how did you make the separations?
Thank you for asking. So what I did is I got myself into a quiet place, and I had my reading screen. Explain what a reading screen is.
Sure. So if you have the ability, everybody has the ability, if you find yourself, I say, look at the blue sky and the white clouds and the mountaintops, you have a picture of that. And that picture is in your head, but it's kind of seen as if there's a television screen, computer screen, right out here. That's where you have a sense of seeing it. So that's called a reading screen.
So what I did is I pretended I just created a white rose on my reading screen, and I asked the question, what color is frustration in my space? And pink. I got the answer pink. So I took the white rose and I gave it the command to start at my feet and just collect up all the pink. I was very neutral. Pink, up one leg, the other leg, torso, arms, all the way. At some point, it felt finished, it felt complete. So I put the rose on top of my head, and by that time it had arrived to the top of my head, and I just let it go like fireworks, and all that energy left. And I did it for frustration, impatience, worry, the level 1 students, Mary, everything that was involved in that crisis.
So the energy that was in your space that you could identify, that wasn't yours.
Right.
Okay.
And at some point I just knew, okay, I'm clean. And at that point I created a big gold sun above my head, because once you clean out that energy, there's not holes, but there's spaces left where the other energy was that you want to fill up with something that's more positive, something that's you. So I created that big gold sun above my head, and I just put everything I could think of in there. I put in, you're really smart, and I'm capable, and calm, and ease, and presence, and all the words, success, all the words I could think of, the feelings and phrases. And then I just let that gold sun come into my head and just kind of like honey come into my head, my torso, down my arms, my belly, my butt, down my leg, just fill every cell. And I was complete. So I was able to have my next day, enter my next project, not dragging the chaos that I had just experienced. Because what I've noticed over the years, and other people have too, students have emailed and said if they don't clean out, that next project is not as easy.
Sure, you're just dragging I'm not okay or I'm frustrated into the next project.
Yeah.
So, and you've been a nice person ever since?
Yeah, haven't I been a nice person ever since?
Yeah, yes, dear, absolutely, yes. So,
Making separations.
making separations.
And I think that that tool would be really good for anyone who works with people, like people in retail or massage therapists, that type of
Healers.
thing. Healers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't make that separation, one of the things that happens quite often is you go into that next event with an irritation or off balances. But most people don't make separations in general. And so a lot of times that I'm off balance, I'm irritating, I don't know why my life isn't working, is really accumulation of a lot of the previous days where I'm irritated at somebody and then I never clear out the irritation. So this really simple concept of making separations from your day, making separations from your husband, your wife. It's not a I don't love you. It's just simply I am finding my space.
Yes.
And really simple concept. Just create a rose, have the rose collect up all that energy, explode the rose, fill yourself up with I like me or whatever it may be.
Well, and the key is what I found is to stay neutral and make it very kindergarten, make it a game, because if you're doing any kind of energy work and there's a charge, there's emotional charge, it's not going to work. You have to be very neutral and amused by the whole thing.
The key to it is you have to get out of the energy
Yeah.
to then be able to clear out the energy. So you can't solve the problem from the problem, in a manner of speaking. So finding your space first, in a way, and then creating a balance, and then saying, okay, what's the residue I've got left over?
Talk about making separations at the end of your day.
Sure. So what happens, you have a bad day or you have a frustrating day, and then you come home, you're tired, you watch television, let's say, for those of you who still watch television. I don't remember that, but I think that's something we used to do. What happens is you watch the television and you are one. You're just sucked into the movie, and then you're a bad day, and then you say, well, I'm going to bed, I have a headache, or whatever it may be. That's what you go to sleep in. And the interesting part, people say, well, why don't I remember my dreams? Well, when you're all wound up and you've got all this energy in your space, and then you go to sleep and you make a separation from the body, you go into the sleep space and the body rests, you go home, you experience these very enjoyable experiences, but when you come back to the body and then you reconnect with the body, it's as if you just turn on the heavy metal rock band of yesterday, all the worry, the frustration, oh gee, I gotta go to work. There's no room for the dream space.
Right.
And there's also no room for you to set your intention for your day, enjoy your day, set your day in motion, be clear about what you're doing, how are you going to enjoy yourself. There's no room to even consider those. So this concept of making separations really has a lot of value.
A lot of value every day.
Yeah.
Everyday tool.
Everyday tool.
Yeah.
So really simple. Stop at the end of your day, put up a rose. Where did I leave myself? You know, you left yourself looking at this red light at the corner by the stop sign.
And when you ask that question, where did I leave myself? It's not a rational mind question. When you ask that question, it just pops up, just like when you ask the white rose, what color is frustration? It just appears. It's just pink. And when you ask the question, where did I leave myself? You're going to know something.
Well, and there's no aha to it in this wonderful way. It's like, oh, I was staring at that can of peas at the grocery store. I mean, duh, but there's where you left yourself, staring at the can of peas, or at the stop sign, or looking at somebody oddly during the day. So it really is a very simple tool to stabilize yourself to go forward. And one of the reasons we're kind of talking about this is as we go forward over this next year is going to have lots of attention pulls. Things are going to happen. You're just going to find yourself looking at this and looking at that and having a thought about this. And at the end of the day, that's a big accumulation going forward in this next year. So paying attention to making separations and setting your intention the next morning. We'll talk about setting intention another time. becomes really a valuable tool.
And you know, we could almost do a series called Everyday Tools, because people ask a lot, how do you and I use the tools
Yeah.
in our lives?
Yeah.
And so maybe we could do a whole series of these everyday
Okay.
tools.
Why don't we do that? Because we're not in the place we normally are.
We're not in our living room.
Wait, don't tell them that. They may just think we're still in our living
This
room.
is
They may
actually a
not
green
notice.
screen behind us.
Green screen. Wait, get that green screen bug that just bit me. So, see if you can go enjoy making separations, and you might notice something about yourself that you might like.